All right, this is the first problem on page 41 of your notes. And you'll notice that there is no triangle drawn for you. So I went ahead and drew the triangle. Now the first question kids always ask is, well, Mrs. Ford, how do I know where to put the A, B, and the C? It doesn't matter. Put the A, B, and C wherever you want to put them. What matters is that if I choose to make this angle A, then this is going to be side A. And if I have this angle B, then this is going to be side B, and this is going to be side C. So it doesn't matter where you put the big A, B, and C. You put them wherever you want. But as soon as you put down your big A, across from it has to be little a. You understand what I'm saying? So if you drew the triangle and you had it like this, that is completely fine. But then this is side A, and this is side B, and this is side C. Put the angles wherever you want them, but the sides have to match up across from the angles. Okay? How you draw your picture, where you put the A, B, and C, the big A, B, and C, will have no impact on your answer whatsoever. So here we go. I'm going with this picture right here. I have been told that big A is 42 degrees. Big B is 73 degrees. 65. And little a is 6. So I have been asked to find big C, little B.
So big C is 65?
Big C is 65 degrees. You guys are awesome and amazing human beings. You remember that the angles of a triangle must add up to
180 degrees.
Nobody should miss that question. They have to add up to 180. So that one's got to be 65. Angle C, no matter where you put it in your triangle, angle C is 65. Okay, now what? How are we going to go about finding the sides? Think about yesterday's conversation. Shelley?
Sine 42 over 6 equals sine 73 over B.
All right, so first of all, let's take a look at what she did. She said sine 42 over 6 equals sine 73 over B. Is she okay? She's totally fine. Now, did she have to start that way? No. She could have said sine 42 over 6 equals sine 65 over C. And in fact, that will be our next step, right?
And so this equation is finding the little b, because you're using the little b.
Yes. Well, because I'm using angle 73.
Oh.
If you're using angle 73, then you're doing little b. If you want to find little c, you have to use angle 65. All right, so here she's got it set up. Sine 42 over 6, sine 73 over b. So now what do? So b sine 42 equals 6 sine 73. Just regular old-fashioned cross multiply. B sine 42, 6 sine 73. Then, keeping in mind that this is what I'm trying to get by itself, I'll divide by sine 42. And my teacher has warned me about a very common mistake. When I go to type this in on my calculator, make sure you close the parentheses after the 73. So, those of you with a calculator, would you type that in for me? And tell me what B is, little b. 8.58. 8.58. Did somebody confirm that? 8.58. Somebody else? Alice got that? Good. Now, we have to do it all over again, but this time using this pair. So we're going to say what? What are we going to say? Sine 65 over C equals sine 42 over 6. So in the first go round, we use the A pair and the B pair. Now we're doing the A pair and the C pair. And why are we using the A pair twice? Because that's the pair that was given. There's no round off error in it. It was given. Alright, so cross multiply, C sine 42 equals 6 sine 67 or 65. Divide by sine 42. And so someone, if you would please, type in 6 sine 65 divided by sine 42, remembering to close the parentheses around the 65. And what did you come up with? 8.15? 13? 8.13. Everybody okay with that? Law signs. Now, I hope what you're thinking to yourself is, oh, please give us a quiz over this. This is so easy.
Yes.
And I will. But what I need to do is part 2 here, because there is one tricky little piece of the law of sines, and that's what part 2 talks about. So let me show you what's different about part 2. Part 2 gives me some information. So here's my A, B, and C. And it says angle A is 20. You got to pay attention to the big letters. Remember, the big letters are the angles. Side A would be 12. Remember, wherever you put big A, side A is across from it. And then wherever you put big B, side B is across from it. Remember, Mrs. Ford told you that you will always be given 3 pieces of information, and your job is to find the other 3. So there are the 3 you've been given. Can anybody set up the law of sines for me? Max?
Sine X.
So, okay, sine B, can I go ahead and use my B letter there?
Yeah.
Okay, so sine B.
Number 31 equals sine 20 over 12.
All right, I need everybody in the room to look at that and agree. You okay? All right.
Yeah.
So let's cross multiply. Here we go. So cross multiplying, I'm going to have 12 sine B equal to 31 sine 20. All right, just cross multiplying. Everybody okay with that? Now, this is what I'm getting alone. The sine and the B are attached. You can't be splitting those up. But you can divide by 12. So sine B equals 31 sine 20 over 12. Is that okay? Now, who remembers from the test we just took what happened? Remember in that calculator section, what happened when it said something like sine x equals 0.135 or something like that? What did we have to do? We had to second sign. Whenever the variable is sine b, sine x, cosine x, whenever the variable was here, didn't we have to second sine or cosine or whatever it was? Remember doing that?
That's when we're finding the angle.
Yeah, isn't that what we're finding?
Yeah.
Aren't we finding an angle?
Yeah.
So we are going to have to second sign that decimal. Okay? This is just going to be some decimal. I saw Max or somebody typing that in a minute ago. That's just going to be some decimal. You need to second sign that. Well, let's do it. Press second sign. The parentheses will automatically pop up. Type in 31 sine 20. Don't forget to close the parentheses. Divided by 12. And tell me what happens. What did you get?
62.07.
I want confirmation from somebody. 6207. So what you're saying to me is angle B is 6207. This angle is 6207. Now, here's where the tricky part comes. You didn't notice it, but this given information, which was this and this and this, that was the given information. Back in geometry, that was called angle side side. And what do you remember about angle side side? Can't use it. Remember, it makes a bad word. That's how we remember you can't use it. You could do angle side angle and side 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 and side angle side and all that, but you couldn't do ASS because it makes a bad word.
Is that the only combination that you can't use?
What word?
Exactly.
Donkey.
Now, here's the deal. You just got an answer to this triangle. The problem is there might be another answer. So listen carefully to me. You will get this. It's easy. This is not hard. It's just a little confusing the first time through. What was different about this problem than the other law of sines problems we did was this whole inverse sine thing, right? And the reason we had to inverse sine is because we were looking for an angle. When that happens, when you inverse sine, you go ahead and do it like we did. But then you have to immediately say, there might be another answer. And the other answer will, if it exists, will always be the supplement of the original. Now, what do I mean by supplement? What do I mean by supplementary? Add up to 180. So this one was 62. So the other one is going to be 117.93.
How do you know if there's going to be a second answer?
What?
How do you know if there's going to be a second answer?
You have to check. You have to check anytime you're second signing. When you set up your law of sines and you're looking for an angle, you have to check to see if there's a second answer. Okay? Now, how do I know there is a second answer? Well, actually, there is. There are two solutions to this triangle. One is the triangle that has a 62 here, and the other is a triangle that has 117. The reason I know this one's okay is because would I be able to find an angle C in this problem? Yeah, so that triangle is perfectly okay. Here's what happens when it's not okay. This is what happens when it's not okay. Why would I not be able to find an angle C in that one? Too much. It's too much? Too many degrees? So that triangle, that second triangle, would not be possible. But the way ours worked out, you can have a 20 and 117 in the same triangle. That's perfectly okay. Just like you can have a 20 and a 62. That's perfectly okay. Sometimes that second triangle is not okay. It'll add up to more than 180. And you won't know that until you work it out. But when you work it out, you say, oh wait, that's too much. So that one doesn't work, and then there would be only one possibility. The first one you found. Okay?
Where does 117 come from?
It is, the first one came from solving this out. We got 62.
Yep.
The second answer is always the supplement of the first one. Supplement means they add up to 180. So it's 180 minus 62 is that number right there. All right, let's do the next one. Trust me, this is not hard stuff. It's just confusing the first few times you do it. So let's try this.
So you just stop after that?
Yeah, because luckily, Max,
You don't have to find sides here?
it doesn't say solve it. It just says how many triangles.
Oh, okay. So
That's good news, isn't
So,
it?
do you have to write 1 or 2? Or can you just do the crossing?
No, you write 2 or 1 or actually 0. You could have 2 or 1 or 0.
The first one was 1.
But you won't know 2.
But that one didn't work.
Yeah, it did. Because it didn't when I changed the number, but it did. It did originally. Alright, so let's try this one. See if we can get some of this cleared up here. Bear with me. This is easy. You'll all get this. Everybody always gets all these parts right. It's just the first few times it's confusing. Directions say how many triangles are possible. Okay? So let's set up our law of sines. What will that look like? Sine 76 over 18 equals sine B over 20. So we'll cross multiply. So 20 sine 76 equals 18 sine B. And then we'll divide by 18. Everybody okay with that? Now, you can type that in, but that is not the answer. To get the answer, don't we have to second sign that? Anytime you're looking for the angle, like Zach said, anytime it's sine B, or sine C, or sine A, or sine X, you need a second sign. All right, so go ahead and type that in. Again, don't forget you need parentheses here if you're typing it in that way. Moving your way, honey?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me what we get. What happened, Max?
I got a domain.
Okay, that happens. Anybody else get it?
That means 0.
That means there's no solutions. If it came up with an error message, that means there are no triangles possible with that information. That information will not produce a triangle. That happens. And you know right off the bat, it says, okay, then we're done. We move on. There's nothing possible here. We're done. Did everybody who typed it in get a domain error? Or some kind of error? All right, next. Remember, it doesn't make any difference where you put your A, B, and C. You just have to make sure that once you put them on there, that your sides are lined up correctly. So side A is across from angle A, and so on. Gabby Bridges, any idea on how we would set this up?
Do 25 sine 85 equals 15 sine B.
Probably, that's how it'll turn out, but you're ahead of me. What would the proportion look like? Most of us are going to start with the proportion, so we're going to say sine 85 over 15 equals sine B over 25. So I think she was right. I think she had the cross multiplication already done. So 25 sine 85 equals 15 sine B. So what do I type into my calculator? Now I got it worked out as far as I can, but what do I need to type in on my calculator? I need a second sign. That's exactly right. Guys, every time you have that scenario, you're gonna have to second sign. Janae, what's on your iPad, sweetie?
Nothing, blank.
Okay, why don't you put it down then, it makes me nervous. Okay. Type it in, tell me what happens.
24.9.
Brittany?
24.9. 24.9.
24.9, so angle B turns out to be 24.9. Do I have confirmation from anybody? Yeah, I don't think so. That doesn't make sense to me.
I received an error domain.
Here's why, can anybody tell me why I don't think 24.9 is right? Take a look at that triangle.
That's too much. Yeah.
Is it possible for 24 to be across from 25 and 85 to be across from 15?
Why isn't it?
Think about the hinge theorem. The bigger the side, the bigger the angle, or the bigger the angle, the bigger the side, right? As the angle gets bigger, doesn't the segment joining my fingers have to get bigger? Yeah. That is a bigger angle than this one. That has to have a bigger side than this one does. Yeah, I think that's an error. I think that's another error. So the answer is no solutions. David, you want to type that in again and see what happens? Type it in one more time and make sure. It should come back with an error. Yep. Okay. All right, you guys can make fun of me another time. Right now, we got to get through.
Don't pick me.
All right. If this one comes up error too, I got to start typing these in. All right, here we go. Let's see what happens here. Come on, we got to get through these.
Sine 42.
Sine 42 over 22. B over 12. Remember, it's sine angle and then over side. So 22 sine B equals 12 sine 42. We're going to divide by 22. So sine B equals 12 sine 42 over 22. Is that good with everybody? Now this one should work. You're going to type in, because it's sine B, you're going to type second sine this number. So here we go. Type that in. That one should give me an answer. I hope. It did. What'd you get? 21.4. So this angle is 21.4. As soon as you find that, imagine a second triangle with the same 42, but now a different angle that is the supplement of that one. So a supplement means they add up to 180. So that would have to be 158.
Yes.
Then you look at this triangle and say, okay, would it be possible to have a 42 and a 158 in the same picture? No. So that one isn't possible, and there's only one answer to that problem. No, they really, you don't even put that down. You just say there's one answer.
So we're just finding how many answers there are?
Yes, that's what the directions say. How many triangles are possible?
1,
And that one has just 1. Alright, so things are starting to come together. Let's look at the next one. We have a 60 and a 9 and a 10. It is vital that you get the 9 and the 10 in the right spot. The 9 has to go across from the 60 because the 60 is little a, or I mean the 9 is little a. And little a has to go across from big A. So what's my setup? Sine. 60 over equals sine B over 10. So 10 sine 60 equals 9 sine B. And sine B is 10 sine 60, excuse me, over 9.
Alright, well I figured out the problem.
He is the master graphic.
So what I'm going to type into my calculator is second sine 10 sine 60 over 9. It is hot in here. I think we're getting it all warmed up. I got 74.2. Anybody else get 74.2? Now, as soon as you get that, I want you to immediately draw a second triangle with a 60 here, same 60, but then a new angle here. And what's the new angle going to be? 180 minus that one, which is 105.8. The new angle is always 180 minus the one that the calculator gave you. Then you stand back and say, could I do that?
For sure.
Is that possible?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how many triangles are possible in this problem? 2. All right, one more. Try this one on your own. See how, if you can figure out how many triangles are possible in problem number or letter F.
Never happened before. These aren't blank.
What'd you get? Error. And when there's an error, that means there is no triangle possible, right? When there's an error. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad. All right, now what we're going to do...
It's over!
No, it's not over. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to give you 2 problems that I want you to work on with your partner.
Who's our partner?
Whoever you want to be your partner.